So I made my son practice silence for an entire Saturday. And this wasn't really a punishment as much as it was an effort to teach him a very valuable lesson. Let me explain. So my middle child, the middle child. He came home with a report card that was good, grade-wise. However, the comments that all of the teachers had to say about him pretty much negated the fact that he actually did well on his report card. Because character is something that is hugely important to me. Who you are when you're not in my supervision means a lot. So while discussing this with him, he made it seem like he just couldn't control himself. Like talking was some kind of involuntary action. And I wasn't having that. So I had to put it to the test because I wanted to prove to him that it was possible, but it took effort. And I also think that when you are completely silent is when you get to recognize your innermost thoughts. You get to recognize the different voices that are going on in your head, consciousness or ego. Those are things that you should really get acquainted with as early as you can start to recognize the difference. So the very next day after a bowl of cereal, I sat him down and interviewed him about his experience so that you could hear it from him firsthand. Check it out. So, what did you think when I first told you to practice silence for 24 hours?
I was like, you're crazy. I wasn't thinking I was gonna make it. And also, I was like really sad because I was like, it's gonna be miserable. It's gonna suck.
And what did you think of the experience?
It was better than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was just gonna be like I'm gonna go crazy, but it really I forgot about it doing stuff, and I just felt like it was just. I didn't get into any trouble because I was just quiet and just sat down the whole day. Didn't do a lot of stuff besides listen to music, slept, I drew, I draw. I think that is. And that was it, yeah.
Okay, so what did you think about the most?
I think it was talking.
What do you mean?
I was just thinking a lot of words. And I want to say this.
So you were thinking about what you wanted to say in that moment, but couldn't say it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many of the things that you were thinking of saying were actually worth saying?
I'd say none of them were necessary that I had to say. Some of them could have been none of them. I think one thing was bad, and it was when I was saying Mikhail was playing, and the character in this game was Super Baby. And he was like, this super baby is attacking me. And I was about to say, Mikhail, don't be a super baby. And I didn't say it.
So only one time you thought of saying something that was bad.
Yeah.
That's good. I would think that, and I know for me, a lot of the things that I think but don't say I don't say them because they're mean or they may hurt someone's feelings. I don't think positive thoughts all the time. So the fact that you only thought something before and didn't say it, but the fact that you recognized that maybe this wouldn't have been nice to say, and you only caught that because you didn't say it.
Yeah.
Right. So did you miss talking?
A little bit certain times when we were walking to the park. And we were there, you guys were having conversations. And you brought up baseball, and I wanted to tell you about my baseball practice, but I couldn't.
Did you hear the differences between the voices in your head?
I didn't, because I heard a voice in my head that's a fact. I definitely heard a voice in my head. I don't normally hear voices in my head unless I'm, thinking of a song or something. But, I heard a voice regularly talking to me, which is weird. But I just thought it was, my normal head voice.
So, the voice that you heard regularly talking to you in your head, what was it a positive influence or was it a negative influence?
I'm pretty sure it was positive. I don't think anything it like was saying was bad. I think it was just telling me like a bunch of stuff. It was like my little friend that I could talk to, but I didn't have to speak to talk to him.
You could just think it and he
Yeah.
would know.
Mhm.
Word. I think that was the my main objective with having you be silent for an entire day was for you to get familiar with that voice that's in your head that I'm pretty sure is starving for your attention. But like you said, you never even heard him until yesterday when you just could not speak. And that voice is the voice that I wanted you to make a connection with. Because I feel like a lot of the times you are flowing in the moment and you're not really thinking about the consequences or the weight of your actions. I think you're really just flowing. So now that you've experienced being silent, do you feel like you would be in more control of your voice and your actions and your responses?
I think like I did learn a lot about my actions and responses that if I would just be quiet for before I do it and maybe think it in my head before I do it, since I'm quiet and I'm not talking, then I can just think it and then say it. That's probably what I learned, and the more often that I practice it, then I think I'll just become like ultimate master at it.
What did you learn from this experience about yourself?
I learned that I can pay way more attention to some things when I'm silent than I can when I'm talking, and I'm thinking of a lot of things. If I'm just silence that stuff out, then I have a way longer attention span. Like I drew for like 3 hours straight.
Wow.
Drew is like a word, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the past tense of draw.
Mm-hmm.
You drew for 3 straight hours. That's longer than most movies. You spent that much time focused on one thing. You've never done that before. You've never singularly focused on one thing for that amount of time. Interesting. Do you find that in your normal life, you attentively listen when people are talking, or are you more waiting for people to stop talking so that you can talk or you can respond?
I think it's like a little bit of both, because when I was being quiet, I heard you guys talking and I was listening and I wanted to respond, but then at sometimes I was like, at least I don't have to respond to this, because it could have been like some things like I didn't want to talk about, or some things that I just wanted to avoid, like how Mikhail sometimes was asking me questions that I didn't want to hear, like all these questions about his game, or maybe telling me about his game, and I couldn't respond. I think also I wanted to respond a lot. How, like, again, when we were at the park, you were talking, I wanted to respond, or in the dinner, when we were eating dinner.
Word. Now, do you think that this was a good exercise for you to do, or is this something you never want to do again and you regret doing?
I think it was good. I don't want to do it again, but it was good, and it was helpful.
Word. Now, I told you that this was going to be beneficial. I told you that this was going to be life-changing stuff. Do you think it was, or not so much?
I think it was. A little bit and a lot of it at the same time.
That don't make no bit of sense. Was it beneficial or not?
Yeah, it was beneficial. In a way.
So another thing is the reason why I asked you to be silent for the entire day. And it was even better that it was a Saturday, because it was a day that generally you get to just do whatever you want, is because you told me that you could not control yourself, that you couldn't control talking and not talking and being silent. Do you think now you can control that?
Yes. I think better, at least better.
I mean, well, you controlled it the entire day. There was times that you impulsively wanted to speak, you didn't. There was times you wanted to respond, you didn't. There was times that there were things that you wanted to communicate, that you were excited to talk about, but you didn't. So clearly you controlled yourself.
Mm-hmm. But there's sometimes I'd whisper something like this.
Yeah, and I would punch you in the shirt. Mm-hmm. But like, now you see at least that you are fully in control, and that you can control yourself. That these are things that are not, just, they aren't involuntary actions. They are definitely something that you are actively participating in, that now you can actively choose to turn off. You get that?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Welcome. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this content, this experiment, let us know in the comments. Make sure you leave me a like. Also consider subscribing. I go way deeper into this particular experiment on my podcast, Rap Dads. All of the links are in the description. rapdads.com has a blog, it has merch, it has a podcast, it has a bunch of great resources. The goal here is just to share my fatherhood journey and sit down and talk to a lot of other rap dads who are also on their journey, and seeing where we can help each other all be the greatest dads we can be. Thanks so much for your time. Peace.